In this video, I'll be showing you how to automate your LinkedIn lead generation as well as outreach messages using Apollo, Apify, and that way you can start reaching out to LinkedIn contacts and leads automatically. If you guys want to download this automation template, you can come over to one of my schools. Just head on down to the link in the description below and you can find them there. So let's go through a live demonstration. Right now, we are searching for 500 leads in the construction industry in Calgary, Canada. It's going to output those results into our Google Sheet for us. So both of our actors have run. We've got the start results and the get results, and now our leads have been updated into our leads construction Calgary Google Sheet. And if you take a look here, we've got a bunch of information. We've got the LinkedIn profile URL, which is the most important part that we need. We've got the first name, the title, organization name, which is just the company name, as well as the city. And this is all of the information that we're going to need to actually personalize the message for us when we're using it for the LinkedIn outreach later. So if you take a look here at the profile URLs, if we just come over and actually click some of these, we'll see that we've got a bunch of leads from Calgary, and they're all in the construction industry niche. And so you can do this for any niche that you want. But right now, I have scraped, let's see, 400. We've scraped 500 leads in the construction niche in the Calgary area. And so that is just super beneficial for us to actually, start messaging these people and connecting with them. And the whole reason for this workflow is so that you don't have to do this yourself. This just does it automatically for you. So LinkedIn allows you to outreach to about 20 people a day. And I just don't have the time for it, and I just know myself I won't do it. So if we automate this workflow for us, it automatically sends them a connection request. And that way, think over time, over months, over the whole year, how many new connections on LinkedIn you'll have and how many more opportunities you'll have, to do business with these people. So that is what we're working on today. All right. And so we've got our leads into our leads construction Calgary sheet here. And now what we're going to do, it's actually fairly simple. We're going to run our information through our basic LLM chain, which is just like ChatGPT. We're actually using Claude here because it gives the best output. So if we take in our leads construction Calgary sheet here, leads construction Calgary, yep, that's the one. We're going to select sheet number 1. And if we just execute this step right here, you can see that we pull in all of the data from our Google Sheet here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this data in to our chat model here, and it's going to give us a first icebreaker, like personalized message. So if you come here, and you message somebody, you want to essentially send them a message that's custom to them. You don't want it to be a generic message, and you haven't done any research on them. You want to add that little snippet of personalization. And so that is exactly what this agent is going to do for us. So what we're going to do, instead of doing all 500 rows, we're actually just going to run some test data. So let's actually pull about 10. We're going to pull 10 leads. We're going to enter it into a new sheet here just to give us some test data. So we've got leads construction Calgary test. Close all these LinkedIn tabs here, and we're going to pull in this test sheet into our N8N leads construction Calgary test. We're going to choose sheet number 1, and if we execute this step here, you see that we pulled in that test data instead of all 500 leads. Just in case something goes wrong, we want to be able to continue to work with it without, doing all the work for about 500 different leads. Now, when we run our personalization icebreaker workflow, it is pulling in the data from Google Sheets. It is creating an icebreaker for every single one of our leads, and it just added it to the Google Sheet for us. So if we come back over to our sheet, our icebreakers are looking pretty good. Let's go through a few of them just to make sure they're actually good enough to send out. We don't want anything that seems AI generated or anything like that. We want it to look as human-like as possible. So we've got our icebreaker. Hey Patricia, I noticed you're running QTS in Calgary. I'm working on the solution space too. Great to connect. Hey Lloyd, saw you're leading the APDA in Calgary. Interesting project delivery work. Okay, so it's taking the information and it's personalizing the message for us, which is exactly what we want. Hey Tariq, notice you're running restoration projects in Calgary. Tough market, great to connect. So with this icebreaker, it keeps it fairly simple, but also mentions something about them, right? So it takes in, what they do with just their organization name. And so you can add more data to this, but for this purpose, we're just going to keep a simple message. I like how these look, and I'm okay with sending these off, but you can also add in as much information as you want because we're going to be scraping a lot more data, and I'm going to show you how to build this workflow from scratch. So now that we have our icebreaker, what we can do is use a tool called Phantombuster to send LinkedIn requests and DMs automatically throughout the day. But that will be at the end. Before that, I'm going to show you how to build this workflow from scratch so you'll understand how to use it properly, and then we'll get into Phantombuster and how to send the messages at the end of the video. Okay guys, let's build this workflow from scratch. The first thing we're going to add is an HTTP request, and this will be to run the actor. And what this is doing is pulling a URL from Apollo. So for example here, I've got, I went to people, I've added the location as Vancouver, Canada, selected 1 to 10 employees, and selected the construction industry. And so whatever industry and location that you want to use, you enter that into people in Apollo, and then you'll come over, you'll grab this URL here, you'll bring it over into your Apollo scraper, which allows you to scrape up to 50K leads. And from here, you will need the starter plan on Apify, but it is better than paying for the Apollo plan. So join the starter plan, and if you don't, you'll only be able to scrape 100 leads per run. Once you grab the Apollo URL, you're going to bring it over and enter this URL into here. And as you can see, we've got 500 leads. The minimum is 500. Okay, and what you're going to need to do is actually copy over this code. And this is what we're going to bring into our run actor. So if we come over to our run actor here, we're going to go to the send body, and we're going to specify the body as using JSON. We're going to paste that in. And if we look for our expression here, we've got total records 500, and then you can look for some of the data through the cracks here. So Vancouver and Canada, that's what I look for. And you can change the industry if you want to. So for example, if you want to search another industry, just copy over this URL, bring it into your Apollo scraper, and then copy in that JSON, and then this will automatically be done for you in N8N. So now that we have our JSON code in here, we need to actually get the authentication URL, which is this API endpoint. So if we go to API and endpoints, we're going to select the run actor, and it's going to be in the post method. So we got to remember that. We're going to change this to a post. We're going to paste in our run actor URL from Apify. And if we test the step here, you see that we ran the actor, but we can't actually get any results from it. And the reason for that is because we need to add in another HTTP request to actually get the results. But before that, we need to add in a wait node. And we need to add in this wait node because of this right here. If you go to my previous runs, you'll see that I've done this before. I've ran for 500 leads to be scraped, and the duration was 2 minutes and 29 seconds for the last one. And if you don't wait that amount of time, oh, I've got one running right here. I'm going to abort this. Just so we set it up first. And so you want to, have the same duration for the results to actually go through. So for example, if I just add another HTTP request, which will actually get the results, and I don't use the wait node, just like this, then it's just going to go through automatically, but no results will actually show because you didn't give the run actor enough time. And that is why you want to add in this 2-minute wait node. For this example, I'm just going to do a 15-second wait node, just for example purposes. And let's set up, we got our wait, 15 seconds, yep. And then let's set up our get actor /run. And if we come back over to our Apify platform, you go API and endpoints. We will select, we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, guys, and go get last run dataset items. Copy this over, come back into here and paste that in. And let's run this now. So if we go execute workflow, it's running the actor. It's going to wait 15 seconds. And let's see, if we go back over to runs, you see that it is running. That might not be enough time for us. So we might need to run that for a little bit longer because it already finished up for us. So yeah, this is a great example. So if we come back over here, we have no output. And the reason for that is because we needed to add some more wait time. So let's abort this. We'll just start over. And we're going to make the wait node. Let's give it a minute. Okay, everyone. So we just got the results in our get actor HTTP request here. And let's go over some of the results. So if we go to page 50, we scraped a ton of leads. So if we come over to our scraper, we've got success. This one took 2 minutes and 24 seconds. And I would probably switch the wait node over, depending on how busy the server is, to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds or 3 minutes, depending on how many leads you're scraping. If it's, a lot more leads, then you're going to have to up that time. But in our get actor, now we pulled all of the data from our Apify. So now we have the leads in our N8N. And so this you can do now automatically through N8N instead of having to go back to Apify and use this scraper all the time. Now you can run this every time and set yourself up a leads Google Sheet here. And so what we're going to do is we've got our Vancouver Leads Canada sheet. So create yourself a sheet similar. Profile URL, first name, title, organization name, city, and Icebreaker. Those are the column names that we're going to need. And if we come over here now, we're going to add in a Google Sheet, and we're going to just update all of this data into the Google Sheet that we already have. So let's go append or update row in a sheet. And from here, now we can just connect to our sheet and bring in the variables. So Vancouver Leads Canada, that is this one, and we'll go sheet number 1. Now you see it pulls in all of the column names for us. And now what we want to do here is just append the data that we want to add. So first name, we're going to pull in the first name. This is the get actor. Yep. So pull it in from the get actor. We'll go first name, and that will be Mo. And profile URL, this will be, their personal URL. So don't make the mistake of bringing in the organization URL. So if you come down here, you can see organization and LinkedIn URL. We don't want to pull that in because we're sending connection requests to people and not companies. So we want to pull in the person's URL, which will be this LinkedIn URL here. And you can see it'll have a name there in the ID. So there's Mo. We'll pull in the LinkedIn URL into the profile URL. And for the title, let's see here, President and Executive Development Director. Pull that title in. Organization name, pull that, Starka Enterprises Ltd. Pull in that city of Vancouver. And then the Icebreaker, we're going to add this in after. All we want to do is add in the lead information that we already have. We haven't made a personalized message yet. So if we execute this step here, we will add the data in, column to match on parameter is required. Okay, we got to set this. So we need a column to match on. That's why I added this name here. So we'll match on the first name. And now we can execute this step. And there you go. So there's all of our data. And what you can do here is just delete this name. I just wanted to add something to match on. And now we have 502 leads. So delete that and come back over. And there we go. And so, yeah, we got the LinkedIn profile, the first name, title, organization, and city. And now we want to fill out that icebreaker. So we pulled in all this data. That is the first workflow. And so if we come over here, you can see that it's just a bunch of people working in the construction niche. So this guy's a principal at Aquavolt Engineering. Remodelers for seniors and mobility challenged. Okay, maybe a bit different, but let's come over to some others here. Operations. So this guy, it looks like operations. Okay, so that might not be an owner. Let's pull some other leads just to see if the test data is good for us. Because we were pulling, people working in the construction industry. So executive director at RenoCon Design Center. This guy, and then let's see here. Founder, owner at 80 projects. So there's an owner of a construction company there. And this guy's an engineer. So business development. So it looks like it pulled in some information other than just owners. So you can tweak that and try and, get the data to, or the leads to come in as accurate as possible. But for the most part, we've got a lot of people working in the construction industry and a lot of high level people, not just owners, which sometimes can work out as well. So site supervisor, which is somebody you can also reach out to, owner operator at Alpha Cut Concrete Cutting. So they're not all specifically owners, it looks like, when you pull them. That's what we wanted to pull, but in Apollo, it pulls a lot of other data, I guess, as well, with some more high level people. So we've got the leads here. And now we want to send a connection request automatically to these people. And on LinkedIn, you can do that 20 times per day. Now, I want you to keep in mind that while using Phantombuster and connecting and sending messages to these people automatically, you will need to have a LinkedIn, I think it's Sales Navigator, to be able to personalize the message, to be able to send them a message request. So you can connect with people, and that's the method I've been using. I've just been connecting with people, and then you can message them after. And I've also done it where you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and you can send, messages to them automatically. So I'm going to show you, how to do it both ways, where essentially the setup, it'll be the same setup, but it'll allow you to send messages if you want. And if you don't have access, it just won't send the message for you. Okay, so you need LinkedIn Sales Navigator to be able to send the personalized message automatically. But let's build that system out now to personalize the message. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go get, we'll go Google Sheets, and we're going to go get rows in a sheet. And what we're going to do here is pull in our data from this Google Sheet that we just added the information to. So I'm just going to close all these profiles here. And now we're going to connect to this lead source, Vancouver Leads Canada. We're going to choose sheet number 1. And now if we execute this step here, it's going to pull in all of the lead data from our Google Sheet. Now, what do we want to do from here? Is we want to actually be able to personalize a message. And so what I like to do is use a basic LLM chain. This way we have access to more models than just, let's say, if you were to use OpenAI's message and model. If you go here, you can use that, but you only have access to GPT's models. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to actually connect Open Router instead. Okay, and now what I like to use for the personalized message is 3.7 Sonnet. You could probably use 4 Sonnet as well. 3.7 is a little bit cheaper. I found if you use ChatGPT or Gemini Flash, the results just aren't as good. And because we're reaching directly out to people, we want the results to be pretty spot on. So you're going to connect to Open Router. If you haven't done that before, you're going to go to openrouter.ai. We're going to come over to settings, and you're going to need to add in a couple dollars. So add in like $10. It lasts for a long time. Go to API keys, create an API key, put in like N8N, something like that. Copy your API key over, bring it over here, and then you can just put your API key in here, go save, and you'll be connected to Open Router, and now you have access to a bunch of different models. But enough on that. Let's get over to this basic LLM chain here, and we're going to need to add in a few prompts. Okay, and so the first prompt we're going to add, I'm actually just going to give to you to copy. You can also download this entire template in my Skool if you want to, and make it a whole lot easier for you. So we'll come over here and we will go define below, and this is going to be our first prompt. So your task is to take a LinkedIn profile information of user, and then generate a very short and smooth icebreaker that I can use as a variable in my connection request. Return your results in this format. In order to ensure icebreakers are high quality, make them follow this template. Hey, we bring the variable first name. Love seeing this. I'm also into this. Thought I'd connect. Always say it's great to connect at the end of the icebreaker. Always paraphrase, and let's see here. Don't say things like extraordinary work in landscape. I know ChatGPT always does things like that, but Claude's a little bit better, which is why I chose it. This makes it seem human written instead of just an automated message. Okay, and then we have a couple more prompts to add, which I'm going to add right here. But first, what we're going to do is just try and pull in. Actually, the data is already pulled in for us right here, which is perfect. So that'll be our this is going to be our main prompt here. And the next thing we're going to add is just a user prompt, and this is going to pull in all of our data. Okay, so what we can do is start pulling this over right here, like profile URL, things like that. So we could actually just do that. We'll go first name, and we're just going to bring in all of the information that we want our large language model to have. So we've got the title, and we've got the organization name. Now we don't want to bring something in like the profile URL. We just want to bring information like this. We've got the city, and that's going to give our chat model information to work with to actually create that icebreaker. So this is going to be the user message. And the next thing we're going to do is add an AI message, which will just set the tone. And I'm going to bring this over for you guys. This is how we want the message to sound. So, hey, William, need to see we're both in Ottawa. How are things going at JSON organization? And what we're going to do is, instead of having this, because I was sending test data to somebody in Ottawa before on my last one, we're going to pull in the city here. So whatever city you're pulling from, you can just go here. Hey, William, need to see we're both in city, which is Vancouver. How are things going at the company? Great to connect. And that's what we're going to want from our AI. Now, from here, all you need to do is execute this workflow and then append it into a Google Sheet. But because, for example purposes, I just want to do a smaller data set, we're going to bring in a small amount of test data. So instead of 500, just to keep it short, I'm going to go sheets.new, and I'm going to pull in, let's see here, let's pull in 10. We'll pull in 10 leads, paste that in. Okay, and then we'll go Vancouver test leads Canada. And you guys don't have to do this. You can just go ahead and actually, I might recommend doing it just to see how the output is. So this is actually a good example. You want to see what the output is before you go through all 500 leads, because if you're on Claude, you know, it's gonna cost you money depending on if you're using like the API key that I showed you. So you want to make sure that the output that you get is good. So this is another reason it's good to do this. So Vancouver test leads Canada, and now we need to pull this instead of Vancouver leads Canada. We'll go Vancouver test leads Canada. Run sheet number 1, and we'll execute this step. So we pull in this data now, and now we have 10 leads. Okay, let's just make sure everything's good in our agent here. Okay, everything looks to be good. Let's execute this step and see where we get. Okay, so there's our output. Got a few different ones here. Let's see how it goes. Hey, Jared, love seeing your work in crane services. I'm also interested in the construction industry in Vancouver. Thought I'd connect. It's great to connect. Thought I'd connect. It's great to connect. I don't really like that. Why is it doing that? But for the most part, let's just read the top bit. Hey, love seeing your extensive service in Canada's government. I'm also passionate about Canadian policy development. Thought I'd connect. Okay, so it looks like great to connect. Let's take this out of our prompt. Always say it's great to connect at the end of the icebreaker. So it looks like it's already doing this on its own. So if we take that out of the prompt, let's see if it doubles up on that. Let's see here. Okay, so Hey Mo, notice your leadership, work in Vancouver's business scene. I'm also based in the area and working on executive development initiatives. Thought I'd connect. So it says thought I'd connect at the end of every single one, which is fine. So yeah, that's a little bit better. At least it's saying, at least it's not doubling up on the great to connect. So let's see if we can make this a little bit better. We need to see we're in city, how are things going? And okay. Let's see here. Task is to take return results in this format. Okay, let's run it again just to see what the output is. That's why it's good to do a couple tests, because you wanna mess around with a few different LLMs just to see what the output is, because sometimes Gemini is good for shorter ones, sometimes Claude is good for the longer ones. That's what I would recommend. But you wanna test around and see. But one thing I'm finding here is this icebreaker that it's putting at the front of this one. I don't really like that. I don't know why that's there. Let's just upload it into our sheet and we'll see how it looks from there. And then we'll try and tweak that. So right now we're going to just go to Sheets again, and we're going to add to a Google Sheet. Okay, which will just be append or update a row. And we're going to add to that Vancouver test leads data right here. We're going to go sheet number 1, and we're going to select a column to match on, which we didn't do the first time. And we're going to bring in the first name to match on. And from here, all we need to add is actually the icebreaker. We don't need to add in any more data. Sorry, we'll add in the text from the large language model into the icebreaker. That's what we want. And so if we execute this step here, it's going to fill out all of our data for us. Okay, so there we go. It pulled in all of our icebreakers. And this one right here says icebreaker at the top. I don't know why it says that. I might have to mess around with that prompt to get that dialed in. But we've got all of our icebreakers here. And let me know in the comments if that happened to you guys as well the first couple times. I'm actually going to add in something right now just to see. Just don't add in any hashtags. For example, icebreaker. I'm not sure why it's doing this. Let's execute this step again and see what happens. So we're executing, and okay, just with that, it's fixed. So if you have that problem, you could probably just do that. Don't add in any hashtags, for example. Don't add in the icebreaker that you just added in. Now, I haven't had problems with that before, so you guys might not. Anyways, now we have the icebreakers to send out. And so if you pull in a bunch of leads like this, instead of doing the research for these people, you can just use AI to do it because you give it, the information of this person. And then, you can personalize this message. So imagine how long it would take to think like, okay, this guy's a project manager at Pro King. Okay, he's in this industry. Okay, like the thing that you're doing here. Imagine typing all of that out and then actually, following through with connecting with these people on LinkedIn, sending them a message every single day. For me, it's probably not going to happen. It's not a crazy amount of work, but it is just that little bit of friction that you probably won't do, and there's better things to focus on, which is why we're doing this. And so now we have our data here to be able to automatically send LinkedIn connections to. And right now I'm going to download this into a CSV. There we go. I'm going to pull this into my desktop. And now what we're going to do is the fun part, which is coming into Phantombuster. If you don't know what Phantombuster is, I've actually only used it for LinkedIn connections, so I'm pretty sure there's some other things that you could do. Instagram follower collector. So looks like it just works with social media platforms and automation. I've used it for just the LinkedIn auto connect, which is what we're going to do right now. And so if we come over to, let's type in LinkedIn, we're going to find where to go. LinkedIn auto invitation. Actually, let's check the one that I have right now just to make sure. LinkedIn Icebreaker, LinkedIn Auto Connect. That's the one I'm using. There we go. LinkedIn Auto Connect. Let's look for that, guys. Let's see here. LinkedIn Auto Connect. Use now. Okay, you're going to want to use this one because I tried to use some of the other main LinkedIn automations that they had, and it wasn't really allowing me to update the data with the Google Sheet. So this is the way you want to go. It's taking me a long time to figure this out. So I've got my test data now. All I have to do is paste in the URL of a Google Sheet or CSV. Okay, and so I actually didn't have to download that. That's my mistake. You could just share this. That's what it was. Before, when I was using this share method, right, it was not working with the other Phantom workflows. So what we do is we paste this in and we delete this end here right at this slash. So delete this slash and anything after it and you'll be good. Now, if we come down here to name of column containing profile URLs, you'll see that we have all of our columns in our test data here. So we want to pull in the profile URL, and also it pulls in the first column for the LinkedIn profiles anyway. So I'd recommend setting all of your LinkedIn profiles in the first column, which if you followed along, we've done that already. So back to Phantom, name of the columns to keep in the result file. We're going to select every single one to pull through. We're going to go save. You're going to connect your LinkedIn account if you haven't already. And how you do that, well, I'm sure it'll show you, but you need to download a Chrome extension as well. And now this is the icebreaker that we're going to be sending. If you don't have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you won't be able to do this, but you'll still be able to automatically connect with 20 people a day, which is fine. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a bit pricey for some people. And so I've done it both ways. But if you do have it, you can use this icebreaker, which just gets you, one step closer to making that connection with somebody. You're going to make a connection a lot quicker with somebody if you have that personalized message. We add in our icebreaker. We save, select your email discovery service. We're going to select none. And let's see, LinkedIn lets you send up to 100 invites per week. We recommend sticking to 20 invites per working day to stay within a limit. If using an email discovery service, we recommend having this number. Invitations to send per launch. We'll just do 10. Okay, I see. It's doing 10. I'm assuming because I have 10 leads in here. Okay, advanced behavior settings. We're going to leave this as is. And so, yeah, I'd recommend if you have a big source of data, then just do 20 leads per day. You don't want to go over that and screw up your account. Select the launch frequency. So you can do it once, and this is just good for a test. But if you want it, let's say if you have the actual 500 leads that we scraped, you're going to do repeatedly, and then you don't have to touch it after that until the 500 leads are done, of course. So we're going to go repeatedly. 70 out of the recommended 100 profiles will be invited per week. 10 invitations per launch once per day. We're going to save that. So we've got successful authentication, and it is running right now. It's going to process through all 9 of the leads. Now, for example, just to save some time, what's going to happen is once it's ran, if you're doing like a short test data, like 10 leads, it's going to send those over a pretty short period of time. And then, yeah, if you have more than that, it'll send it throughout the day. And so if we come over to this one that I launched that was successful, you can come down to leads and results, and you'll notice here that profile URL from input. So I've sent connection requests to these people. So if you come over to this person's profile, you'll see that it says pending, and I didn't do this. It just automatically did this, and that's just a little way to test out and see if it actually worked. All right, and so I got, 30 leads in there. Preferably you want to find the ones that actually have profile pictures, like the ones we actually just pulled before in this data set. We saw a lot that had, active profiles. But that's the name of the game with scraping leads. It's going to pull, decent ones, and it's going to pull bad ones, and you just got to get that small percentage to reply, or that small percentage of higher quality leads. And so one thing I want to mention is I will be leaving this for you guys to download in my Skool, but you could have added something to automate this entire process in Phantombuster. And I think sometimes, this is already automated enough. And so the reason I didn't do that is because I actually like the Phantom dashboard, and I like to see what's going on in here. And you could trigger, Phantom to do everything for you automatically, but this is pretty well automated enough. And so I just decided we are going to automate, 90% of it, leave the last 10, because if you're just getting started with it too, the Phantom part is a lot more difficult. And so sometimes, you don't need to automate 100% of everything. If you can just, get the simplest route possible. And this is exactly what we've done here today. So guys, that is how you scrape leads with Apify, personalize your message, and send LinkedIn connection requests and messages automatically with N8N, LinkedIn, and Apify. I hope you guys liked this video. Like I mentioned before, if you haven't already, you can come over to the AI Automations Club. We're a very niche community. You can find all of my automation templates. Just launched a cold email outreach course, which is going to be very helpful if you're trying to land clients in any industry. Very low cost method. Got Automate Your Business. Download all of my N8N templates. We've got a lot more coming soon. And so if you want to learn more about AI every day and take this thing serious, then I would love to see you guys in there. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.